I'm not sure. Look, now using a staff of teleportation, I guess, to get out. Guess it's not the end of the world, and it looks like this Mountain King. Oh, actually, what happened to the Mountain King? It seemed he'd be around here somewhere. Oh, he's gone south of the Archmage. Mountain King will be accompanying, but at the same time, the Mountain King not actually going to be too useful at this point in the game because Sky's army is not geared towards killing heroes or fiends. It's geared towards killing those destroyers, which is a fair enough thing to do. But that Mountain King, obviously, it's better to have it out than to not have it out. But at the same time, it's not going to be overly useful for sort of the foreseeable future until we see a transition from Sky, which we probably will see fairly soon because you can't just go destroyers and win. And it looks like actually some of these, or sorry, you can't just go flying machines and win. I think there's one poorly rallied flying machine here as well. And it looks like Sky did catch it eventually. Meanwhile, Happy though will be creeping out though. Will be getting level 3 on that Death Knight. +6 intelligence for that Death Knight's pretty nice as well. Obviously, coil on destroyers is so important against that sort of area of effect attack of these flying machines, especially when you also have things like higher level aura and regeneration from your statues. That really helps against the area of effect damage from flying machines. It looks like it's Happy going for a counter expansion. Really interesting play here by him. Obviously, undead expansions traditionally not too strong, but against something like a flying machine army, it is sort of viable. Flying machines are 1-0 upgraded. Happy is 0-0 upgrades for all of his units, and it looks like we are seeing the Archmage and the Mount King continuing just to creep solo. Obviously, those water elementals are fantastic for tanking, and you can afford just to waste them basically because you don't really want to have them in the battle. At which point they just sort of get absorbed for extra damage against you by those destroyers. And it looks like a Happy actually going to be creeping out as well. Interestingly, tanking on his destroyers, not on his lich, which should sort of be the standard thing, but maybe he's just trying to get it done a bit quicker. And it looks like a third hero will be the Paladin for Sky. Meanwhile, we're not seeing a third hero yet for Happy, and it's very possible that we will only see 2 heroes from Happy, even though he's tier 3. It's not absolutely necessary, and Sky has now scouted out this expansion, but no flying machine bombs means, oh, flying machine bombs just finished. Yeah, so he can actually do something about it. It's the slowest damage in the world, and with only 3 flying machines you can't do too much, but it looks like Happy's actually willing to react to it. I wonder if he is web. I guess we'll soon find out. And obviously it's not sort of the best, like the biggest score ever just to get a couple flying machine kills, but it's sort of a good start at least, and it looks like the sort of really large vision range on those flying machines means that Sky can get them out of there quickly, and Sky actually running with his Archmage around pretty carelessly at this point. Needs to be careful not to lose that, which he could well do to a sort of a good Nova or something like that. And I don't think Sky knows that Happy hasn't got a third hero. If he had, there's sort of a couple combinations which would be bad for him. Meanwhile, the first oh wow, Griffin Riders and siege engines out. No barrage though for those siege engines yet. That'll be quite nice. So if he can get that up, just because otherwise it's pretty useless in the army, especially when Sky can get up some slow towers and just get some ghouls to focus it down basically. And Happy, it looks like he's just seen that first siege engine and immediately getting some meat wagons. Really smart choice there. Obviously you can do extra damage to them, and you just have to keep your siege engines moving, which is actually pretty tricky when you have all these other things to be microing about, especially against undead, where you constantly need to be aware of sort of the possibility of being nuked, and you have so many hero skills to be using and things. It's just really tricky to do all those things at once. And it looks like Happy just sort of doing a bit of scouting really with these destroyers. It's pretty safe to do scouting with destroyers as long as your opponent doesn't have too big of an anti-air army, just because you can do so much. You just can't be stunned, and you can absorb any water elementals that come out, so you can really minimize the amount of things that can actually do damage to you, and you can get really good scouting information. You can get away quickly. And meanwhile, it looks like Happy sending back his whole army to take care of one tank. It's a pretty hefty investment actually, as another tank coming straight in, but the Orb of Corruption brings that down to -3 armor, which is so useful because it means that sort of the massive armor sort of effects of that just are so negated. It looks like Happy actually could leave that alone. I think that's probably the right choice because it's running into a base that has a couple towers. Actually, Happy selling one of his slaughterhouses now, and I wonder if he sent that meat wagon to the back of his base. No, it looks like he probably brought it with his army. Sometimes at larger food armies you will see a meat wagon. Well, actually, I wonder if Happy cancelled the meat wagon. I don't see it. Dark Ranger third now for Happy. It's an alright choice. I mean, obviously the Mount King and Paladin can both focus it down pretty quickly, especially in conjunction with the Griffin Riders. But at the same time, it's very nice for silence because there's so many important skills that need to be cast by the human army, and by being able to silence, that's just so critical. Looks like Happy picking out, oh wow, 685 maximum man on his Death Knight now, and it looks like Happy or Sky setting up his third expansion, though actually he has some towers by the thing going up here. So Happy really needs to get a sort of a move on, either push or set up a bunch of expansions of his own. But look at all of these mass flying machines. This is where they actually are useful, and very nice timing here on the Spirit Tower. Spirit Towers do fantastically against these flying machines, but this tank actually going to be able to do a whole bunch. And it looks like Sky coming in here, or actually getting out of here when he sees Happy getting in here, and Happy really needs to be able to take down sort of all of these units so quickly, and he has managed to do that. So he has kept his gold mine alive, and he really can't afford to be sort of being mined out at 3-1 or maybe even 4-1 if his expansion goes up, which it hasn't yet, but it probably will eventually. And obviously 4-1 would really be sort of game over, and even 3-1 would be pretty bad. But an undead can survive 3-2, and it looks like a Happy could be straight under attack again. But you can see the Spirit Tower so good, so good. Whoops, so good against the flying machines, and you can just repair it as well. And obviously flying machines absolutely terrible at killing acolytes, terrible at killing buildings basically. I mean, they do siege damage, but it's so low damage, it's really basically not worth it. Meanwhile Happy, you can see he's attacking, and obviously he's worried about focus on his Death Knight, and so he does have sort of +3 armor from the Lich, which is so useful as well, and because obviously that's basically the only thing he can't coil at this point. And actually instead Sky's just deciding to focus down these destroyers, which is a pretty nice choice, but at the same time lots and lots of mana left on that Death Knight, so it's really not going to be too tremendously effective. It looks like Sky continuing with this attack, just going to actually bring in his whole army as well. Wow, this is such a large attack here, really spread out, but really this probably going to go down here now for Sky, unless he Happy, unless he TP's in, but he does TP in, and Sky knows he needs to immediately get out of here. Looks like a couple units will go down, but there was no point in really trying to save that tank, because unless you could staff at home, it's just not going to be able to run, so you may as well do as much damage as possible. And in the meantime, it looks like Sky has been able to set up his 4th expansion now, really going into crazy macro mode, and Sky actually needs to get some more peasants on here. So in effect he's currently only mining from 2, but he soon will be mining completely from 4. And I wonder what Sky's upgrades now are. Still 1-0 actually, I'm surprised by that. He should probably get some more upgrades. And I'm Happy at 1-0 as well. I think Happy should probably get some more attack upgrades as well pretty soon. When you're on 2 base, you can really afford to get those attack upgrades pretty steadily. And Happy at 74 food now, but meanwhile it looks like a bit of an attack coming in here. Web being used very nicely, and it looks like actually oh wow, scroll protection being used, and that's going to be so bad now for Sky actually, just because obviously it can all be absorbed by those destroyers, assuming that it's not on cooldown. But it looks like Sky really forcing Happy back at this point, and Happy really needs to be so careful with his heroes, and it looks like he did just manage about to save everything, but at the same time it looks like so much damage has been done to Sky's army. And Sky getting all his water elementals again absorbed, and a web being used there, and it looks like this one Griffin Rider will go down, and actually Happy making very nice use of his army, being able to pick off a couple more units here, just being able to get a whole bunch more experience for his heroes, and actually setting up a 3rd as well. I really like the timing of this 3rd, because he really knows that Sky's not going to be scouting out for expansions, or even if he is, he's not going to be able to do anything about it for the next little while until the effect of his expansions come in. And so if Happy gets this expansion up and manages to take this one down, it will be 3 expansions versus 3 expansions. And I wonder what Sky now at 58 food, and basically no gold, stored up a whole bunch of lumber, but I think we saw he had a shredder earlier, so that's not too surprising. And meanwhile Happy, not a lot of gold, stored up at 71 food, and that could really be critical. And actually it looks like some more harassment coming in here by these flying machines, but I think if we see a Spirit Tower coming in here, yeah we do, that'll be more than enough to hold off from that expansion. And it looks like even if this one is now taken down, that certainly won't be too terrible, because Happy will be taking down this one expansion of his own, and Happy can just cancel these, and so it's no real lost investment, where it's a pretty large lost investment for Sky if you consider all the cost of those towers that were set up as well. And Sky now with 3 armor upgrades as well for his buildings. I mean, it's gonna take so long to take down, because if you think about it, Sky's basically having to keep his buildings alive versus what is sort of magic damage and piercing damage, both of which only do 30% versus buildings. And when you have sort of 8 armor on your buildings as well, it's just so hard to do anything about it. And will Happy be able to bait Sky into actually attacking here? Yes, he is by the looks of things. It looks like Sky gonna lose at least one flying machine. A bit unfortunate there for him, and actually it looks like one pretty low flying machine as well. But it looks like Happy looking to pick another fight here, and Happy gonna try and focus down some units here. But it looks like Sky probably just gonna be able to get out of here eventually. Oh wow, True Shot Aura being picked up here now for Sky. Brilliant item for him to get, and it looks like Sky will be able just about to hold this off, even though he has been silent, which is so annoying for that Mountain King and for the Paladin. And it looks like these just in numbers, these flying machines are so effective, and you can see even though the True Shot Aura only does +2 for anti-air and +1 for anti-ground, that's still a lot when you consider sort of how low their normal damage is anyways. And it looks like Sky really gonna be able to put down a whole bunch of damage here. Sky really bringing out a massive army at this point, and it looks like actually Happy might just be able to do a bit of damage here and then pull back, and then do damage and pull back to his towers, which would be very nice if he could do. But a bolt coming in here, probably gonna take down this Fiend. Actually, no, it looks like that Fiend does get caught and does eventually get out of there, but at the same time it looks like Sky just going to continue to put on this pressure, really going to force Happy into the very back of his base. Happy loses one destroyer there. That was his last destroyer as well, and so actually these flying machines aren't going to be too useful from now on, apart from just getting in the way a bit and doing a tiny bit of damage, and Clap coming in there as well. But it looks like just this massive army here going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage and really put Sky very much on the offensive. Looks like this Dark Ranger actually getting very low as well, and is very out of position, and looks like there's a GG there from Happy, so Sky wins that. And I think I'll probably bring you another Happy game pretty soon. I really hope you enjoyed that, folks. Really intense game. I'll see you guys very soon. Thanks.